It looked like just another monster-on-a-ship thriller. High seas, terrifying creatures, and a crew fighting for survival. But Deep Rising was a war behind the cameras. Directors clashed over the tone, special effects teams battled deadlines, and Treat Williams pushed for character depth. The result? Chaos, compromise, and cinematic terror. In today's video, we'll uncover the 20 shocking secrets behind Deep Rising. Shocking Secret 1. The movie that wasn't supposed to exist. Deep Rising began as a different film entirely. Originally pitched in 1994 as Tentacle, it was meant to be a straight horror movie set aboard a cruise liner overtaken by sea creatures. But, as production dragged, Disney's Hollywood Pictures demanded more action and comedy, forcing the rewrite that turned it into an odd fusion of Aliens and Die Hard at sea. Director Stephen Sommers fought to keep it scary, while producers insisted on crowd-pleasing spectacle. The resulting compromise created tonal whiplash, equal parts thrilling and absurd. Still, Sommers' energy held the chaos together, turning a misfit script into a cult favorite years later. It wasn't the movie anyone intended, but that's exactly why it stands out. Deep Rising didn't follow the current. It survived by breaking against it. When compromise meets chaos, strange legends are born. Shocking Secret 2. The creature that terrified its own designers. The film's terrifying monster, nicknamed the Oculus, wasn't created by one effects team, but three. Different studios each designed parts of the creature, unaware of what the others were building. The result? A monster so massive and grotesque that it shocked even its creators once assembled. The slimy textures were achieved using liquefied latex, fish guts, and gel-based dyes that reeked under studio lights. When animatronics failed during filming, Sommers ordered emergency reshoots using practical tentacles built from foam and motor cables. Cast members said the set smelled like the ocean died. Some refused to enter the creature pit at all. Yet despite the chaos, the monster became the film's most iconic feature, a living nightmare that looked too real for comfort. Sometimes, horror's greatest achievement is scaring its own makers first. Shocking Secret 3. The boat that wouldn't float. The majestic cruise ship in Deep Rising was a nightmare for engineers. Instead of filming on water, the crew constructed massive sections of the ship on gimbals in a warehouse, using hydraulic lifts to simulate motion. But the system constantly malfunctioned, causing lights to fall, sets to crack, and equipment to short-circuit from leaking water tanks. Cast members endured extreme heat and nausea while pretending to be trapped inside a sinking ship. When the hydraulics failed mid-take, actors were nearly thrown off balance, prompting insurers to demand additional safety protocols. The fake ship consumed most of the budget, leaving the CGI effects severely underfunded. Ironically, the production spent millions making something that couldn't float a single inch. Still, its claustrophobic realism gave the movie a unique texture of panic and pressure. When the illusion of control sinks, authenticity rises. Shocking Secret 4. The studio's last-minute panic. Just weeks before release, test audiences were left confused. Was Deep Rising supposed to be funny or frightening? Disney panicked. Executives ordered last-minute edits, cutting entire scenes of violence and adding awkward jokes to lighten the mood. Some sequences featuring graphic creature attacks were deleted outright, and Sommers' original darker ending was replaced with a cliffhanger to tease a non-existent sequel. Crew members called it editing by fear. The studio's interference diluted the tone, but gave the film its weird, unpredictable rhythm, a blend of camp and chaos. Though critics panned it, audiences later embraced its strange energy. Deep Rising wasn't broken by its edits. It became iconic because of them. When panic runs the ship, the wreck becomes legend. Shocking Secret 5. The cast that nearly mutinied filming. Deep Rising tested everyone's endurance. The cast endured freezing temperatures, long hours, and constant water exposure. Famke Janssen reportedly fell ill multiple times due to contaminated set water, while Treat Williams joked that his contract didn't include drowning. Crew accounts describe open frustration and near mutiny after multiple night shoots extended past dawn. Some scenes had to be reshot up to 10 times because animatronics kept malfunctioning. Still, the camaraderie between cast and crew survived, held together by dark humor and sheer exhaustion. Despite their misery, the group delivered performances that carried both terror and wit. The irony? Their exhaustion became the film's most authentic emotion. The fear of drowning wasn't fiction, it was fatigue. When chaos becomes routine, endurance turns into art. Shocking secret. 6. The monster that almost ate the budget. The original creature design for Deep Rising was so ambitious that it nearly sank the film financially before production began. Stephen Sommers envisioned a full-bodied, multi-tentacled monster that could crush corridors, swallow people whole, and slither through the ship like liquid terror. But when visual effects teams calculated the cost, over $10 million just for animation, producers ordered heavy cuts. Sommers refused to give up, recycling digital assets from other sci-fi projects and combining them with practical tentacle rigs built by Amalgamated Dynamics. Even then, rendering each shot took weeks. Some sequences were never finished, forcing Sommers to hide incomplete effects behind fog, water, and quick cuts. Despite the constraints, the creature still terrified audiences. What they didn't know was how much of it was illusion, clever editing disguising financial desperation. When creativity starves, ingenuity becomes the only weapon left. Shocking secret 7. The hidden connection to Predator. Too few fans know that Deep Rising shares DNA with Predator 2. Several crew members, including creature designer Tom Woodruff Jr., had previously worked on the Predator sequel and reused leftover prosthetic materials from its production. Early drafts of Deep Rising even included references to a secret military project studying alien marine life, an Easter egg that was scrapped after the studio feared legal trouble with Fox. Some concept art even depicted hybrid hunter creatures that resembled aquatic predators, but these were deemed too expensive. Decades later, fans noticed stylistic overlaps, thermal imaging effects, similar weapon designs, and the same creature wrangler who managed the animatronics. It wasn't coincidence, it was inheritance. Deep Rising wasn't just a sea horror film, it was built from the bones of another cinematic beast. When monsters evolve across movies, legends quietly merge beneath the surface. Shocking Secret 8. The cast that never was before. Treat Williams took the lead. Deep Rising was supposed to star Harrison Ford. Ford read the script in early 1995, but walked away after creative disputes over tone. His replacement list included Kurt Russell, Keanu Reeves, and even Bruce Campbell, each one turning it down due to scheduling or skepticism. When Williams finally signed on, the studio saw it as a budget-saving move, not realizing how much charisma he'd bring to the role. Meanwhile, Famke Janssen had just lost her X-Men audition and nearly turned down Deep Rising, calling it a gamble. Ironically, both stars' careers were redefined by this film. It gave Williams cult status and introduced Janssen as a rising genre icon. When the A-list walks away, legends rise from the wreckage. Shocking Secret 9. The fake blood that made everyone sick. The gallons of gore used in Deep Rising weren't movie magic. They were misery in a bucket. The effects team created fake blood from corn syrup, food dye, and gelatin. But after days under the hot set lights, the mixture began to rot. The smell became unbearable. Crew members described it as sweet death, and several actors reportedly vomited between takes. At one point, producers tried adding peppermint oil to mask the stench, only making it worse. When production wrapped, the studio spent thousands cleaning contaminated props. Despite the health risks, Sommers refused to replace the mixture, insisting its texture looked perfect on camera. Ironically, the authenticity of the film's horror came from bacterial decay, not special effects. When realism stinks, the horror becomes unforgettable. Shocking Secret. 10. The ending that predicted another movie. The final scene of Deep Rising, with survivors reaching an unknown island as another monster roars, wasn't random. It was meant to set up a direct sequel titled Deep Rising: The Lost World, where the creature reappears on land. Concept art revealed mutated sea predators attacking a jungle research base. However, poor box office performance killed the plan. Years later, fans noticed that the island design closely resembles the one used in Summer's The Mummy. The director later admitted he recycled visual ideas, calling The Mummy the sequel that never was. Deep Rising's ending wasn't a cliffhanger, it was a preview of his next career move. When one dream drowns, another rises from the waves. Shocking secret. 11. The sound that wasn't from Earth. The creature's sound design was so disturbing because the audio engineers built it from real underwater recordings captured by U.S. Navy hydrophones. These were actual sounds of deep-sea pressure shifts and unknown marine life, some of which remain unidentified. Sound editor Bruce Stambler layered those low-frequency groans with animal noises slowed to a crawl. Elephant bellows, lion roars, and human screams warped into inhuman tones. During mixing, the team discovered that certain frequencies made theater speakers vibrate violently, almost as if the monster were trying to break free from the sound system. The mix was briefly censored in Japan, where it triggered nausea and disorientation in early test screenings. What the audience didn't realize was that much of what terrified them wasn't fiction. It was the ocean itself, whispering back through the speakers. When horror speaks in frequencies too deep to hear, your body becomes the instrument. Shocking secret. 12. The scene that broke an actor's rib. During one of the ship corridor chase sequences, actor Kevin J. O'Connor, who played Joey Pantucci, was pulled by a mechanical cable meant to simulate being yanked by the monster. But the rig malfunctioned, slamming him into a steel doorframe. He broke a rib and cracked his elbow, but insisted on finishing the take. Summers was horrified, yet impressed. He called it the most authentic fear I've ever filmed. The footage remains in the final cut, and you can actually see O'Connor clutch his side while screaming, a reaction that wasn't acting. Production shut down for half a day, and the stunt team quietly redesigned all their pulley systems after the accident. Still, O'Connor later joked that it was the best pain money ever bought. When pain becomes performance, the scream turns into truth. Shocking secret. 13. The band poster you were never meant to see. MGM once designed a promotional poster that showed the creature's massive mouth swallowing the ship whole, complete with blood-red waves and terrified faces. It was meant for the 1997 Comic-Con reveal, but censors immediately pulled it for being too grotesque. Only 5 printed versions survived, and collectors now hunt them like relics. One was found in a studio vault in 2014, still labeled "Do not distribute." The marketing team later admitted that the image caused panic during internal screenings. Employees described it as visually upsetting. MGM replaced it with the now familiar blue-toned version, hiding the original in storage. To this day, only a handful of insiders have seen the full band artwork. When the marketing becomes too monstrous, the truth hides behind safer colors. Shocking secret. 14. The day the set flooded for real irony struck when the floating fortress set, built inside a massive water tank in Vancouver, actually sank mid-production. A support valve burst overnight, flooding several camera rigs and nearly destroying thousands in equipment. By morning, the crew arrived to find the main deck half-submerged. The studio tried to spin it as an immersive test, but insiders admitted it delayed filming for a week. The disaster almost bankrupted the effects department, which had to rebuild portions of the set using cheaper foam and plywood. Some of that damaged structure still appears in the final cut, cleverly hidden by shadows and fog. When water becomes both prop and punishment, the set itself joins the story. Shocking secret. 15. The lost ending that changed everything. Few know that Deep Rising originally ended differently. Instead of reaching the mysterious island, the survivors were supposed to find a crashed research submarine, revealing that the creature came from a secret deep-sea experiment gone wrong. The twist would have redefined the monster as man-made, not natural. However, test audiences hated the idea, calling it too sci-fi. MGM demanded the more ambiguous island ending, scrapping weeks of footage. The deleted scenes were later lost when a studio fire damaged archived negatives. Only the screenplay remains, hinting at what could have been, a revelation that humanity had created its own Leviathan. When a truth sinks too deep, the waves swallow it whole. Shocking secret. 16. the creature design that terrified its own crew. The monster, designed by Stan Winston Studios, was so complex and realistic that even crew members were unsettled watching it move. Built from hundreds of hydraulic muscles and translucent latex skin, the animatronic version of the creature could stretch, contract, and pulse like living flesh. The engineers called it Levi, short for Leviathan, and stored it in a refrigerated room to preserve the silicone. But strange reports emerged. Crew swore it made breathing sounds even when unplugged. One technician refused to work near it alone. During late-night tests, Winston's team caught audio feedback that resembled heartbeats from within the model, though it was never explained. Whether mechanical or something more, the sound haunted the editing room so much that it inspired the final film's unsettling low-frequency hum. When imagination becomes too lifelike, creation starts breathing on its own. Shocking secret. 17. The $45 million gamble that sunk the studio Deep Rising was meant to launch a franchise, a big-budget aquatic horror epic that would rival Alien. Disney's Hollywood Pictures invested nearly $45 million, banking on a February blockbuster. But poor timing and bad marketing doomed it. Released just weeks after Titanic, audiences had already seen a massive ship disaster. The studio lost millions, and Deep Rising became Hollywood Pictures' unofficial death knell before it shut down in 2001. Insiders revealed that executives were furious, calling the project the most expensive monster nobody saw. Ironically, the film later found cult status on home video, where horror fans praised its practical effects and over-the-top charm. For a movie that drowned at the box office, it rose again in the dark corners of fandom. When ambition sinks in daylight, it resurfaces in the shadows. Shocking secret. 18. The cameo that never made it. Jean-Claude Van Damme was originally offered a small cameo as one of the mercenaries, a sly nod to Universal Soldier. He reportedly showed interest after meeting with Stephen Sommers, but scheduling conflicts with Legionnaire forced him out. In a twist of fate, his role was rewritten for actor Jason Fleming, who played Mulligan. The studio had even prepared a special teaser trailer hinting at a famous action star guest appearance. When Van Damme backed out, the footage was scrapped, but his name remained in early promotional drafts. Years later, Sommers admitted that if Van Damme had accepted, the film might have gotten more press, though he also believed it would have stolen focus from the creature. When a legend almost steps aboard, the ocean rewrites the script. Shocking secret. 19. The real nautical myths that inspired it. While Deep Rising is fiction, many of its ideas stem from real maritime legends. Writer Stephen Sommers based the creature on stories of the Kronos Rising myth, an alleged prehistoric predator sighted in the South Pacific. He also borrowed from the true accounts of vanished cargo ships in the 1970s, where crews were found missing, but their vessels untouched. Sommers spent weeks studying sailor folklore and sea monster sightings, building a mythology that felt ancient yet scientific. Even the name of the ship, Argonautica, is symbolic, referencing Jason and the Argonauts, adventurers who faced monsters at sea. When myth bleeds into metal, the stories we tell begin to feel too real. Shocking secret. 20. The legacy that refused to die for decades. Deep Rising was dismissed as a failure, but its DNA quietly shaped future cinema. Sommers reused much of its visual style and cast when directing The Mummy, even giving actor Kevin J. O'Connor a nearly identical comedic role. The film's concept of luxury, greed, and survival in isolation became a blueprint for later creature thrillers like Deep Blue Sea and Underwater. Fans now celebrate it as the monster movie that never quit. Bootleg screenings, midnight festivals, and Reddit fan theories have resurrected its legacy, proving that cult films never really sink, they just wait beneath the surface. When legends drown, they don't vanish. They evolve beneath the tide. Deep Rising wasn't just a high seas monster movie. It was a battle, a clash of ambition, chaos, and practical effects that left its mark on everyone involved. Beneath the carnage and towering sea creatures was a story about survival, greed, and what happens when humanity faces the unknown. Maybe that's why it endures, because it reminds us that fear without preparation is its own predator. If this uncovered a truth about deep rising you never knew, drop your favorite secret in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more revelations from the films that sank expectations. Remember, never underestimate the deep.